works. There are two scenarios we'll talk about here, mobile to mobile and mobile to server. But first of all, what you do is you define your data types and your service using a language called Thrift. So Thrift is an interface definition language that was it came out of Facebook in about 2007, and they use it for all of their internal services. What Thrift does, it allows you to do, I mean, this whole idea of using IDLs is as old as computer science itself. From things like WSDL, Corba, that sort of, that whole idea, it's an old pattern. So we didn't reinvent the wheel, we didn't want to get another IDL. Thrift fits quite nicely to what we want to do. So we took their syntax, nothing else, because there's more to Thrift than just the syntax, but we took their syntax as ours. So you define your service using Thrift. With your data types, you define your service then, which is the use of those data types and how you want them wrapped up in your RPCs. Run them through Golgi, we turn the handle and we spit out our type-safe APIs, which you get to use in your apps or on the server side of things. And last bit there, away you go, knock yourself out. Develop your app, not worrying about the transport between them. So in the mobile to mobile case, if you want to send a request from this device here to that device over there, first thing is it gets we make a connection up to our servers, send up the payload. Up there we work out what kind of device it is. Is it Apple? Is it Android? Decide which push mechanism we're going to use. Send the push to bring the device online. It comes in and receives the request, processes it. And as I said, we are a request response paradigm, so even if there's no data coming back, we do have to get a response, even an empty response from the other end. That comes back, and then the return thing happens. We decide if the connection is no longer from the originating device, we send a push, and it comes in, connects, and gets the result. So we do all that orchestration, all the pushes, but from a developer's point of view, you just basically call a type-safe function over here on the left. Type-safe function got invoked on the right. The response back down again, type-safe, and the result popped up the other side type-safe. And we took care of all the machinations to get things from left to right and back again, including taking care of connection failure, lack of response, all those sorts of real-world things that happen out in the mobile network. A slightly simpler example is for talking to a server. So you can have an external server where you possibly will have your all the usual things one has in the server-side infrastructure of an app environment, whether you're managing subscriber, user data. If you're a messaging app, if you're doing group messaging, you might send up to this server and it will send it to keep a list of who needs to be sent to, that kind of thing. So typically servers will have persistent connection. Servers can run anywhere. The connection comes in from the server, so you can run your server on a laptop in a lab. There's a paradigm starting to emerge for certain applications where people are running the server side of their code on an iPad, just sitting in an enterprise, wired up all the time. And writing the server side of their code sitting on that. It means you don't have to buy infrastructure. But even as I say, at the very least, you can run it on a machine that just has connectivity to the internet. You don't need to necessarily have a hosted server somewhere, even if it is just in Amazon, for example. So in this case, server will always have a persistent connection to crack servers. The first part of this is exactly the same. We connect, send a request. We send it, assuming the server's connected, we send it straight out to them. If they're not connected, it'll get queued up and wait for them to connect, and then it's it's up to you to really keep your server connected all the time, because we don't have a similar mechanism. So on the mobile side, we can use push to wake up the devices and to get them to come to connect. We can't do that on the server side, so it's kind of beholden on your server infrastructure. Just make sure you have a persistent connection coming in. So we send the request to the server, response comes back, and then we go through how do we get it back down onto the phone. Now, while this might seem like overkill, this connection may still be open. So When we send up this connection, we keep it open for 5 seconds in the case that it might be a fairly quick response. If that happens, we don't do any pushes, it just comes straight back down. But again, to conserve battery, we'll shut down the connection. When the response comes back into our servers, if we don't have a current connection to the device, we'll bring it online with a push.